on the same lines, but as we all know, it's very disappointing when we can't accomplish our goals or we don't accomplish our goals. So imagine having goals that are just so far-fetched that aren't realistic. That disappointment is going to happen more frequently. What's up, baes? Welcome back to my channel if you are returning, and of course, welcome if you are new here. My name is Lay. I am a 30-something-year-old millennial navigating life in my early 30s and taking you all along with me. So I definitely hope that you stick around for more and click that subscribe button. But what we're going to be getting into today is something that I feel like is very important since we are already in the last quarter of the year. Y'all, I can't even believe it. Like, how are we already in October, let alone we're already in the first week of October and entering the second week of this month? I can't even believe it. I'm shocked. I'm floored. Next thing you know, it's going to be Halloween. And once Halloween hits, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and it's done. But I really want to discuss how we can still level up. You, me, we can still level up in the last quarter of the year, because I personally do not feel like it's too late to still accomplish goals that you have set out to accomplish, to begin goals. Maybe there are longer term goals that you haven't started yet, but I really feel like we still have time to accomplish a lot in the last 3 months. Yeah, 3 months ish of this year. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. So I hope you stick around for more, and let's go ahead and get right on into today's video. So first and foremost, I kind of want to stay a little bit organized because I do love to talk and sometimes I can ramble. So I am going to try, and I did kind of, make notes, but I want to try and keep this, as detailed but concise as possible. Don't want to just run on and run on and run on, because I do want this to be helpful for not only myself but also for you, the audience. So we're just going to go through a list of things that I feel like will be helpful for us to focus on as we're trying to level up in the last quarter of this year. And so first and foremost, I feel like it's imperative to just take a second to reflect and adjust. And so when I think about reflection, when I think about taking the time to think about what maybe had went wrong in something that you did or something that you wanted to accomplish, and just taking the time to think about where you may need to adjust, what certain things do you need to change. If it's a specific goal that you've been working on and you haven't accomplished it at this point, reflecting on what are those steps that you took previously, and if that didn't work, then let's find something else that works. I personally have a goal that I'm trying to accomplish by the beginning of next year that I have been working on for quite some time. And one of the things that I did was I looked at, okay, what did I do previously? Why did that not work? And what do I need to do differently? Is it the method that I used to try and accomplish it? Is it that I didn't utilize that certain method to the best of its ability? Was I not disciplined enough? Whatever the case may be. So just taking some time to sit back and just reflect on, okay, if this is something I have been trying to accomplish, why hasn't it gotten done this far? And what do I need to do to adjust in order for it to happen at this point in time? Whether it's, again, am I going to accomplish it in this last quarter, or is it something that I'm going to start and it be a longer term goal that I'm going to finalize or finish later on next year? But either way, I think it is important to just take that time to sit back, reflect, and see where you need to adjust. Evaluate your progress, evaluate your goals, evaluate the habits that you had before, and figure out what went wrong, what's not going to work for me, how can I fix this, how can I amend this to potentially make it better, or just get rid of this method altogether so that I can figure out something that's going to work for me in this point in time. And then one thing that is going to be imperative is to set your Q4 goals. Set your goals and be specific. And honestly, that's probably what you should do first, because then you'll be able to see, okay, is this a goal that I've already had and it didn't work out? And then you can kind of reflect and adjust. But you really want to be specific about your goal setting. What do you want to accomplish in the remainder of this year? Simple as that. figure it out. Like, for example, I actually installed a chalkboard in my room, and it's literally right next to me. And I use this chalkboard for goal setting, for different YouTube videos, content ideas, anything of that nature. If you're a visual learner like myself and you need to see things written down, write those goals down. If you prefer that it be like out in the open and you can see it, get you a wipe off board, get you a chalkboard, get you a dry erase board planner, or not planner, but calendar, whatever you need to do, but write those goals down and be very specific. So, for example, if one of your goals is to, let's say you're looking for a new job. Let's say your goal for the next whatever months is to find a new job. That is a goal. What you can do to be more specific within that goal is to narrow down, what type of position do you want? Do you want a leadership position? Do you want to be in a specific industry? Are you trying to pivot out of the industry that you're currently in? Do you want to stay within the industry but go into a leadership role? Be very specific about that so you know exactly what you're working towards, and you're not just saying, okay, I'm just going to do this, and not really knowing what is the specifics around it. What exactly am I trying to accomplish? So that's why I feel like it's very important to set your goals and be specific in that goal setting so you actually know what you're trying to accomplish. What are you trying to work towards, And you want to really make sure that your goals are specific, that they're measurable, that they are achievable as well, realistic, kind of along the same lines. But as we all know, it's very disappointing when we can't accomplish our goals or we don't accomplish our goals. So imagine having goals that are just so far-fetched that aren't realistic. That disappointment is going to happen more frequently, right? And then it just kind of puts you, just lowers your self-esteem. It just, makes you feel even worse when you're not able to accomplish goals, or when they pile up, the goals that you haven't accomplished pile up, and then you're left wondering, well, what did I actually get to do? So having goals that you realistically can accomplish, I feel like, is extremely important as you're trying to determine, what exactly you want to do and how you're going to get there. So setting specific goals, and then also reflecting and adjusting your focus, your strategy, whatever the case may be that you might need to do. And then we really want to prioritize and focus. And so let's say you've set your goals, right? You set all your goals. Let's say you have 5 specific, measurable, achievable goals that you feel like you can accomplish in the last quarter of this year, right? Let's say you've done that. Then that's when you need to prioritize and focus in. Okay. So I think another thing too is, because we're talking about leveling up and focusing on accomplishing our goals for the remainder of the quarter. So we're talking 3 months time, a little less than 3 months time. So I feel like it's also important to not overextend yourself and not have 10, 12, 14, 15 goals that you're trying to accomplish if that's not really realistic for you. So let's say you narrow down those goals to, it could be 2 to 3 goals, 2 to 3 very specific, measurable goals that are going to be not easy for you to accomplish, but achievable. That might be it. It may be 2 to 3 goals, but things that you feel like that you confidently, if you prioritize and focus, that you can actually accomplish those goals. So you go through and you figure out, okay, which of these goals do I need to prioritize in the immediate future, right? So like I said, we have a little less than 3 months, but what goals do I need to specifically focus on? What do I need to prioritize right now? What do I need to prioritize within the next week, within the next 2 weeks, even within the next month? What's going to need to be checked off first? What do I need to prioritize first, second, third, in order to get to that next step? Your goals may be related to each other. So you may need to look at your goals and say, in order to accomplish, is the recording? Okay. In order to accomplish this next step, then I need to make sure that I accomplish A, B, and C first, right? So prioritizing and focusing and concentrating on what needs to be done first before the next step is going to be imperative, as well as we're trying to focus on accomplishing, whatever those goals are that we want to get done, before the remainder of the year. We got to prioritize and figure out what's going to go first, what's going to go second. Do I need to do this before that? Whatever the case may be. So having a specific plan, part of that is going to be prioritizing and focusing in, right? Just need a little bit of water. Okay. Productivity. So yeah, we don't have a lot of time. 2 to 3 months max, right? So we're going to have to focus on boosting our productivity. Hands down. I'll definitely probably be doing a video similar to this at the beginning of the year on how we're going to accomplish our goals for the next upcoming year. But at this point, we're talking about 2.5 to 3 months. So what we need to do is boost our productivity. We've got to be busy and we've got to be productive in this last couple of months if we want to get what we need to done, if we want to level up, which we can, which we will, but we're going to have to increase our productivity in order to do that. But how do you increase your productivity if you have the same amount of hours in the day as we've always had? The day is not getting longer. We're not getting an extra couple of hours in our day. The day is still going to be 24 hours. So how are we realistically going to boost our productivity if we still have the same amount of time, same amount of days in the week? Well, what we really need to do is implement time management. We've got to be more effective with our time management. That's really what it's going to come down to. For me personally, what I need to accomplish is going to require a significant amount of my time outside of the priorities that I have no control over, which is work. I have bills to pay. Work has got to get done. I have goals to accomplish within my job. I have, metrics to meet within my job that have to be done before the end of the year. So outside of what I personally want to accomplish, I still have a job that I have to do. I still have to be productive at work. I still have to perform well at work. So I have to figure out how to manage my time outside of work. Now that's going to be different for all of us. All of us have different commitments outside of our 9 to 5s or 312s if you're in healthcare or other jobs, whatever the case may be. We all are going to have priorities outside of that. But are we going to neglect ourselves and our personal goals because of those things? I hope not. I hope that we're going to be able to still focus in on ourselves, but it's going to be a task of time management. And so for me, that consisted of me deleting one of my Instagrams, my personal Instagram. I deactivated. I knew it was going to be a distraction for me in this point in time. So I had to do what I had to do, right? And so eventually I'm probably going to end up potentially removing another social media platform, if I see the need, because again, I have to manage my time more effectively. And so that's really what we're going to have to focus in on when we're trying to accomplish these next couple of goals, these next things that we're trying to achieve. We've got to focus on managing our time more effectively. And that means getting rid of distractions. So distractions are going to vary by individual. So you're going to have to sit down and say, what is distracting me? For some people, social media might not be a distraction. For a lot of people, it is. For me, it is. That's why I mentioned I had to get rid of that. And I probably will end up getting rid of or deactivating some of my other platforms. I'm hoping to stay on YouTube because I love YouTube, and I feel like it's not as big of a distraction as some of the other social media platforms. So I'm definitely, not trying to get away from the YouTube, but other platforms and things of that nature that are a distraction. It's like you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes relationships are a distraction. Sometimes friendships are a distraction. And when I talk about that, I don't mean removing yourself from a relationship, removing yourself from a friendship just because it's distracting. If someone's a good friend, don't just cut the friend off. Have the conversations and say, hey, look, I'm going to need you to help me out here. I'm not going to be able to go out. I'm not going to be able to do this. If we're normally used to going out once a week, maybe that's going to be once every other week, or maybe that's going to narrow down even lower than that, because you need to accomplish what you need to accomplish. And a real friend, a real significant other, in my opinion, is going to support that. If it's something that's going to help you level up and accomplish something that is going to make you better, then that person should understand. And if they don't, then we may need to evaluate some things, right? Because at the end of the day, nobody should be in your life and say, hey, you're trying to be better and I don't want you to do that. You see how backwards that sounds? You're trying to better yourself. You're trying to level up, and I have a problem with it, right? So that doesn't even sound right when you say it out loud. So we shouldn't even be accepting that from individuals. If we trust someone that they're supposed to be in our lives, then they should be supportive, they should be helpful, and they should be supportive of us doing things that we need to do in order to accomplish what we need to accomplish. So another thing that we need to do is invest in self-care. Self-care is essential. It's essential, y'all. And the thing is, this is so important because I feel like we neglect the self-care a lot when we are trying to accomplish something, and we focus in on it. So like focus in on that goal or whatever we're trying to do so much that we start neglecting ourselves, and that actually is counterproductive. It reduces our productivity. If you don't take care of yourself, you're more prone to getting sick, and your body will tell you before you tell it that you need to slow down, you need to sit down. And our bodies will force us to do that prematurely sometimes, where we don't have a choice anymore, and especially we've got the C word coming back with a vengeance. We've got obviously the cold, the flu, and y'all, the cold ain't playing either. I didn't had versions of the cold that I'm like, am I sure that this is not, a mild flu? Like it's getting real out here. It's getting real out here. And so we have to take care of ourselves. If that means going to the gym, getting an exercise regimen, if that means taking immunity booster supplements, emergency, taking your vitamins, all of that is a part of self-care. Taking a break is self-care. I know we want to laser in on those goals. We want to get them accomplished. We want to just go, but we've got to know how to take a break. We have to know how to step back and say, hey, I need a second. I need to, regroup. Whether it's taking yourself to the spa, getting a pedicure, getting a manicure, just anything that you can just stop and say, okay, this is my self-care time. I'm not doing anything else but just having time to myself, not going through emails while I'm getting my pedicure done. If that's your me time, if that's your self-care time, then use it as such, like completely, as much as you can, try and unplug if possible. I know people have, responsibilities and things like that where they can't necessarily just turn their phone off while they're getting a pedicure. But I mean, like, again, if you can refrain from checking emails, answering emails, whatever, things of that nature during that time, try to, because you really want that time to be for you. And it doesn't have to be a lot of time. If you don't have a lot of time, you don't have a lot of time. But just make sure you do prioritize yourself, prioritize self-care while you're trying to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. Because again, if you don't, it's counterproductive. And this is real. This one is definitely for me, for sure, because I have a hard time with this, just in a general sense. But we also want to make sure that we seek support and don't feel like we're alone in this, right? If you have a good support system, and I understand everybody doesn't, I do, and I definitely empathize with that. But if you do have a strong support system, lean on that support system. Don't think you have to do this by yourself. Don't think that you have to, because it's a personal goal, that you don't deserve to have some help in that. You have a strong relationship with the significant other, friendships, etc. Like, lean on those individuals for support. Call somebody, if you're having a bad day, if you're struggling with whatever it is that you're going through, and you have someone that you can call up and say, hey, look, sis, or look, bro, or look, so and so, mom, dad, whomever, babe, like whomever it is, say, hey, like grandma, grandpa, I don't know, whoever it is in your life, to say, hey, I'm struggling today. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to accomplish this, but I'm having some difficulties and I just need to vent, or I just need some support. I just need some guidance. Having a mentor is super important in these type of situations. Someone who's been where you're trying to go, and say, hey, what did you do in this situation? For me, I I have asked for advice from individuals, friends of friends. That's an important part of networking. Sometimes your friend, your direct friend, may not have the solution, but if you talk to them and express what's going on, they may know someone that does. I've sought advice for one of my closest friends. Her significant other is in a certain position that I am potentially going to be in one day, or I'm kind of striving to get to, and the way his path has been similar to mine. I've asked her, hey, can you reach out to him and ask, how did he handle this when he was in this situation, when he was kind of in my similar shoes? How did he handle it? So even though she may not have the exact answer, because she may not have gone through it in the exact way, she knows somebody that has, or she knows someone in a similar situation. So she's able to seek out that advice that I need, even though I'm not necessarily directly interacting with the individual. It's a friend of a friend. It's a connection from a connection. Right? So it's important to seek support and guidance, y'all. Don't be afraid to. And I'm speaking to myself when I say this, because a lot of times it's very hard and challenging for some odd reason for me to ask for help. There's some things to unpack with that, but I'm working on it and I'm getting better at it. But I don't want, this to be a continuous thing for me. So I'm definitely working on it. But I feel like it's very important for us this last quarter. Get that support that you need. Seek out that support that you need, whomever it might be from. If somebody that you know is going to support you and validate you, do not be afraid to reach out to them for guidance. Okay. And then last but not least is honestly super, super, super important. And that is to be adaptable and stay flexible. I know that we talked about goal setting. We talked about being specific with your goals. We talked about knowing what you want to accomplish, but also be flexible. It's okay if you don't do everything that you said that you wanted to do by the end of the year. Let's say you have a goal of 5 and you only accomplish 2 or 3. But you know in your heart that you did what needed to be done, and you just did your thing with your first 1, 2, 3 goals. Then be proud of yourself. And understand, okay, I may not have accomplished all 5, but I'm flexible, I'm adaptable. We're going to table these things and we're going to do them in Q1 of next year, Q1 and 2 of next year. Whatever the case may be, whatever you need to do, but stay flexible and be adaptable, because things do happen. Life happens. And as we all know, life be lifing, and there's nothing we can do about it, right? So one thing that I'm working on is to be more adaptable when things don't necessarily go my way, knowing how to navigate that, not having an emotional response every time something doesn't go my way, not being so down and upset and just like thinking that the world is in, when something doesn't go my way. And I'm so proud of myself, because I've grown so much in that area of my life. Wow. Like I've grown so much in that area of my life, but it's because I've learned to be flexible, be adaptable. If things don't work out, a lot of times, honestly, most times, if not all, it's just not supposed to work out, right? If you know that you've done what you could and something still does not work out, then you just have to trust that it wasn't in God's plan for you. And that's where being adaptable and flexible comes in, is when you know that you've done what you needed to do and something still does not work out. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be sad. We're all human, but we regroup. We're flexible. We're adaptable. We figure out the next steps. We figure out what we need to do next. And we know that we're going to be good, right? So I hope that this helped, again, from me to you, so that we can accomplish what we need to accomplish in the rest of this year and leveling up even in Q4. So definitely hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to like it, comment down below anything that may have helped you, anything that you might want to converse about, get a conversation starter on how we're all going to accomplish what we need to accomplish together. And of course, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so that you are notified when I post any more additional videos. I appreciate y'all for joining me. And as always, I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.